Okay. Man, I am tired. I have literally no energy. Alright. Might as well get right into it. Straight up apologies. I'll probably be pretty dead for this because I am just exhausted. But let's get right into it. Whoa, that's oh, is there a reset? There must be a reset. I didn't look at the VOD at all. I wanted to go into this pretty fresh. Yeah, what's up, Nath? How are you? I say fresh, and yet I literally am, as I said, I am just dead. um, wow, my internet doesn't really seem to like this right now. What the hell? Yo! Nath, thanks for the 17 months. My god. I was trying to come up with something funny to say about 17 months, but I've got nothing interesting or funny to say. But thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Let's have a look at this run. I love that I don't have to critique menuing anymore. That's nice. But I am gonna critique one thing. I off having seen your video, like having seen you run a lot of times marathon and having seen your streams and VODs a lot of times. I don't know if you have decoy secondary at all here because I always see you pull it out manually. The elevator is downtime. One thing you should really start thinking about at, as you start to approach, high level is you really need to think about using your downtime and deciding what downtime is. When I say downtime, I mean going up an elevator so there's nothing else to do. Or I mean charging dead straight. Because if you're charging dead straight, you don't need to hold forward. You don't need to do anything. That's, a second of, hey, I can fix my weapons kind of thing. Unless you need to be micro-adjusting angles. But that's a whole nother conversation. So yeah. I've noticed before that you use Rhino here. Rhino is slower and frankly more difficult because you charge towards the left. You don't charge left at all here. You just charge dead straight and then use the decoy and go left. So in this room, you swap to decoy. Actually, you swap to decoy on the elevator. So how it should look is you cancel and then here you pull out decoy. And if you can practice to get quick enough at Aranos to use shield, then I would here. But even if you don't, that's fine. You can switch back. And how it should look is you should have decoy out here. For the reason that basically if you can cancel with decoy rather than Rhino, decoy kind of allows you to jump quicker. You spend less time sliding, and I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but whenever you're neutral state sliding, Ratchet slowly loses speed. I mean, kind of obvious, right? But the longer you neutral slide, the more time you lose, and that also applies to just anywhere. So, if you can use a decoy to jump sooner, it's better. It's also better to use decoy because it's easier to control, because you can jump soon to keep height low, or you can delay it a bit longer to increase your jump height. Like, I'm not sure if you've played around with decoy timings and changing the height of your jumps based on the decoy timing, but that is a thing you can do, and that's a thing you want to acquaint yourself with. So yeah, decoy here, so you'd cancel, a little bit later with decoy, and then you'd hit X and hold it to get the upper ladder. I notice you often get the lower ladder. Even with Rhino, you could get upper ladder. All you need to do is just time the jump a little better and hold X. So you jump and hold X. You don't double jump or anything, but you jump and you aim for this upper ladder. That's what I say if you hear me say. That's what I mean when I say upper ladder, lower ladder. And that would mean that you could do this in 2 jumps instead of 3, which just saves you like half a second. And then, yeah, here you have decoy. You charge out dead straight and then just pull hard left. So you just decoy hard left, and that goes straight up the tube rather than that. That will also mean your spacing is perfect. The decoy is great because, yeah, it'll put your charge lengths exactly right. And then here, even though you use decoy, you then pull out Rhino again during these charges, which I notice a lot you pull out and you do, even though you already have, like, for example, you'll have Rhino primary and then your secondary weapon is already decoy. And I notice one thing that you do is that you go into the quick select anyway to pull out your weapon when you actually need, you can just double tap. So I'm going to make note of that. Remember weapon management. Know what your secondary is at all times. I'm also going to make a sub note under that. Use your down time to organize weapons. So yeah. That's one thing I'll say. Because I think one problem you have with getting your routes right, one of the reasons you might struggle to have the absolute optimal movement is because your weapons are wrong. And then that means you have to, for example, slide to a stop on a neutral rather than being able to just keep charging. So yeah. And then here, I know, yeah, you have to cancel again. You've already used 2 extra Rhino, 3. No, I wouldn't have shot the Rhino yet here. So I'm going to probably refer to Comgolds a lot today because I think at your level you should start really looking at Comgolds and trying to learn those routes. So this is not I'm obviously not trying to flex or anything here. I actually have turret here. It doesn't matter. I was testing turret bomb for a while. I don't do this anymore. Ignore that. Make it Rhino decoy. So yeah, you see there, bomb and then quickly single jump up and then decoy through, switch weapons. You'll notice if you do that decoy and then charge straight out of it, I'm exactly 2 charges away from just wrench swinging hard right. That's why you want to decoy in that first room, because that sets up that to be allowed you to just go straight through. Whereas I know here you cancel and you sometimes miss this angle. You got it perfectly here, but then you stopped, and I imagine the reason you stopped and walked to the right is because you're nervous because you sometimes don't get that spacing, which you then cause you to take a step. So yeah, I'm gonna make another note here. Yo, what's up, Breeze? Cheers, man. I appreciate that. I hope you are well as well. I don't intend this to be a long stream. I'm kind of just analyzing Marathon's run here and going through and primarily focusing on that. I'm not going to do any runs of myself or anything like that today. So yeah, it's not a checklist of skips. You're not going. So I think on Aranos right now, you're kind of thinking, you know, you've got your early bit. You've got ladder. And then the first thing you're probably thinking about is don't fall off out here. When actually it's this refined route. Like, you'll notice if you look at, you know, the top runs, if you can actually do this. You can take, like, 10 of my segments, right? And put them side by side, and they look pretty much identical. I always do this decoy charge up there, that jump. I always do that decoy angle and do 2 charges, hard right. I always go pretty much dead up the center here and cancel onto that. You know? Like, it's a definite route in my head. And I'm not just thinking of a checklist, I'm thinking of each planet as one big segment of movement. If you're not thinking of it as one big segment of movement, then you can never truly optimize it, in my opinion. Alright. Yo, what's up, Dismay? How are you? So here, yeah, you do the other route. I think you said you were planning to learn Instaclip. I have some thoughts on that. Personally, I don't think you need it yet. I mean, if you practice it and you feel like you're okay at Instaclip, then go right ahead. I'm not going to tell you that you shouldn't do strats. If you feel that you can, except double charges. Don't even start me. But if you feel that you can do double charge, go ahead. But keep in mind that will significantly reduce your consistency. I honestly feel like you're better off learning the route which I did in Swag Segmented. Let me pull that up really quick. Actually, I know that I've got that in our DMs. So let me pull that up. So this Aranos, in the segmented, where you do a proxy off this lamp into a double jump and climb, and then you just go up to the top of here and you do a proxy. This is really easy, and then you just charge up this way and you go straight to the end. That's really easy and very quick. So yeah, that's quicker than doing the other exterior strat, and a lot easier than Instaclip. Still like 2-3 seconds slower, probably more than Instaclip. I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, I really think about if you actually want to do Instaclip. Oh, that's the wrong thing. Already getting confused. But otherwise, yeah. Rip the bonk. So here I notice you always go too far right. You actually want to go closer to the wall. You basically go forward and then just go upright. You're going hard right, I think, when you want to go upright. Because you want to thread yourself through the corridor, not to the wall. If that makes sense. Just practice some of this movement so that you're going with the... You're like... To me, what it feels like is you're fighting the corridor. You're trying to move the way you want to. When you can't do that, you need to move with the corridor. As I always say about Aranos, it's basically an Ouya level. It's a glorified corridor. The same way the routes in Ouya are very much constricted to the level. This is one of those same planets here. You can't really move the way that you want to on Aranos. Aranos controls how you move, not the other way around. I hope that analogy made sense. But yeah. Otherwise, yeah, that's fine. I'm being quite nitpicky. We literally just spent 10 minutes talking about Aranos 1. This might be a long one. But I'm trying to be in depth. And I covered some generic things there. I think Ooze is the same thing that I was talking about. Like, off memory, having seen your runs. I think it's the same as this. You're not thinking about it. You're thinking about it as a sequence of skips. And sure, you're going from point A to point B, but you're not doing it smoothly, if that makes sense. That's not meant to be a roast. Obviously, you're doing it quickly. I mean, there's a reason you're top 10. But I mean, okay, I think that there should be a perfect example here if what happens if I expect it to happen. So that's one example right there. You proxied a little too far left, although that's not really what I'm talking about. But yeah, one note here. Aim a little more right with this proxy. You turned your camera too far. Instead of turning your camera that far, I'd turn it a little less harshly and just step left. And then aim more for this part of the fence, like here. What that'll do is it means when you hyper strike, you'll actually end up like up here. And it just saves you some walking and jumping. A little bit quicker. Yeah, so this is one of the points I'm talking about. You notice how you land there? You land, but you're not in a prime position. Although, that is actually over the fence, so that's okay. I'll let that slide. Rip. I don't know if you know the side flip single jump route. I was gonna say, I said before, look at Comgolds and learn the routes. Kinda hard here, I get. Yeah, I don't have footage of that one without mid-air charge. Basically, what you want to do here is you land, you hyper strike, try and aim for the center. Practice your movement to be as centered with this hyper strike as possible. And then you're going to charge dead forward, do one side flip just before these guys, and then land that into a sustained single jump. Which will then put you out like right here, and then you can just charge left. I think Torpedo does it. So let me pull up Torpedo's run. Because this is what I'm really talking about. I think you need to really focus on turning the route into something a lot more definite and consistent and movement chains rather than just a few skips and jumps. So let me see if Torpedo does it. Yeah, he goes straight into it. Side flip straight. Yeah, so the way he lands right in the middle, that means he's one step, not even a step really, away from being able to charge instantly. Then side flip, single jump, and then turn to the side, charge out. and then side flip to the right so that when you land, you just single jump and you land in the perfect position under here because you headbutt rub along these. So that's the movement chain that you want to do. Finicky to get control of, I know. So yeah, there you side flip left. You actually, even though it sounds counterintuitive, you want to side flip right. That also just gets you closer to the wall. You don't charge here after you land. That puts you further up. It's actually harder to clip here. I think one of the reasons you might have trouble with this clip, it's harder to clip the further up this wall you go. For reasons that I can't be bothered getting into. But yeah. Good. Yep, you got the left lock on. That's always good. And you have the right weapon out. Good job. Nothing to say about the ending there. That was fine. Yeah, you're charging way too long. I know I told you this the other day. So what I pay attention to is I watch the enemies on the map. I use Armin setup. So you see this guy here on the map? I think he's the furthest out guy. I could be wrong because there might be one blocked by this logo that I forget about. But yeah, I watch until he goes off the map, like right now. I would turn right now. But you wait an extra 2 seconds. So not only are you losing time to waiting 2 seconds, it's also changing your setup. That needs to be further left. Oh, wow, that worked. I'm honestly very surprised that worked. I mean, hey, Whoopash is a weird one because even though, yeah, you're charging for like 2 seconds too long, and I want to say, you know, save that 2 seconds and do it quicker, when it comes to zero drop, just do what works. You really need to just do what works. So yeah, that's what I'll say there. Yo, what's up, Fiji? Cheers, man. Just to skip the ad. You know what? I respect it. Thank you so much for the 23 months, man. Almost 2 years. Often there's one left. Okay, but to be fair, Harmful, that's because most people often have one left on Whoopash, because Whoopash is a bitch. Yep, that early drop setup is fine. Early drop's the same thing. Whatever works, just do it. Cool. I'd go further left there for that movement. This is another one of those spots that you should turn into a clean bit of movement. You want to learn... you know, the exact... Here it is. No, I want jamming array. What am I doing? So here, see how I don't turn the camera as aggressively as you, and then I only take like one step left, and that pushes me up over this lamp and avoids this lamp. I then turn in to hug this wall, and then wrench swing out a little bit. Obviously my shield's on already. I think you should learn this setup list. It's really not a hard thing to learn setup list here. Which is all I mean is just charging straight through it like that. It's actually way simpler than it looks once you learn how to do it. But I notice you always lose this, like 2 seconds setting this up. So there's like a free 2 seconds of time save there. You know what? I'm gonna start taking notes of stuff more than just, you know, strats. So, Aranos 1... Alright. Alright. And then... Whoopash... Alright, and then jamming entry. Just jamming in general. On the entry, learn setup list. It's kind of a pseudo setup. It's not setup list. That's a weird way of thinking about it. So the setup, as you'll see if I show you here, the setup for me, my camera angle is correct. I'm a little to the left here. I cancel just before and let myself slide slightly towards the ledge and then recharge, which gets you the right charge, and then you pull. I've told you about the pulling right thing as you go through. I noticed that you do that, so that's good. Like, you pull right there, that's exactly what you want to do. But yeah, on the entry learn setup list, as a generic comment, one more of these generic comments, I'm gonna say, I'm pretty sure you don't plasma here. Alright, yeah, so plasma is the quote-unquote new meta. Not that new, actually. It's like 18 months old, but still. So you want to straight away on charge to second transponder, pull out plasma coil. Because I've noticed, it used to happen to me a lot, and I assume, yeah, so it happened to you there. Basically, if you don't quite kill the right guys, and these chicken bots are able to walk too close to you, then you can't grab the bolt. So what you want to do is you break this transponder, and instantly you pull out the plasma coil. You shoot them, you clear them. This is one of those instances you need to have good weapon management. You need to make sure Rhino is your primary. Because you're going from Rhino to plasma coil, you can then just you quick switch back. So you need to be aware of your weapon management on a planet like this. And that allows you to just go cleanly into this bolt. And then from here, you'll notice again, same thing. Rhino, and then pull out Lancer on the way to the third. But then I pull Rhino out. That's one of those weapon management things I'm talking about. I pull out the Lancer, make it my secondary, and then put Rhino back on over top. Whereas I know for a fact that you don't do that. So here you struggle with that because they lived. And then you charge here. I think you pull that out here, yeah. Which makes you lose speed, and it makes it hard to get up here sometimes. And then it also means clearing these guys is slow. You want to use Rhino. It also means that you can't cancel your charge here. And then you can't cancel a charge here. Again, I'm going to reference mine. I don't mean to be, like, referencing mine a lot. It's just, it's a good example. So there, that's why you want to use Rhino. So you use the Rhino shot, cancel it there, which allows you to land up on this this platform. I notice you're landing up here. You actually want to land on this blue platform because it's a bit closer, so you can do it quicker, which then gets you into another charge here quicker. Neutral, get the jump up. But you're doing the head rub properly, so that's good. Learn to cancel there as well. Theoretically, you should do left side because it's technically slightly quicker, but it's like frames. So yeah, learn that. Hold forward this whole time, and you'll be fine. Oh, that's the wrong video to be watching. Oops. Yep, good charge into the center of them. Got them both dead. That's good. Shoot that. Charge left. You could go a little more left on that angle, but you don't. It's not. That's again a tiny thing. Good head rub. Straight onto the transponder. Good, good. Do you do the hyper strike here? I get the impression from watching you play, I get a sense of, and I know there's a thing here that I want to talk about. I get a sense that you're scared. In fact, watching your gameplay in general, I think the biggest thing holding you, well, one of the things holding you back right now, is that there's a general bit of fear in your gameplay. In that I can tell you're scared, like you stopped there before charging. That's a very, very, very lenient charge into Hyperstrike, because the charge length is already, you know, the charges don't slow down on jamming array, and no matter what, that charge will be, you know, out longer than one charge distance. So that is a super, super lenient jump, and yet you stopped out of, you know, being scared of it. So that's like one of those indicators to me that you're scared. which I can understand, but you need to learn to just play faster anyway. Like here, you really need to just land charge. There's no delay. Here, I also really dislike that you're still using one of the gloves for it. I get why, because it's easier to time. I understand that. It's something you're more used to. But it really isn't that hard to use wrench. It's pretty similar. Like the way when you're using glove, you hold R1 and hit circle when you want to cancel. To do it with wrench, all you do is you hold R1 and then you hold L1 and then you hit square and let go of R1 at the same time. The only difference is that circle won't inherently cancel the charge. That's it. And why that's important is you'll notice, like, you know when you're going to fall to your death and you deliberately charge into a decoy to fall quicker? That still applies here. So you're losing height on a wall climb that you're already canceling too late on, which means you're climbing for an extra 2-3 seconds to get up here. So that's why I think it's really important you should switch to using wrench here. You're losing time to having to climb for longer. You have fear in your gameplay. Fear can hold you back. I should have chat on screen, but I'm lazy. They're being a bunch of memers. So yeah, I know I'm saying a lot. But yeah. On more optimal stuff. I also want to say, play with less fear of failure. I think that's what it really is. To be honest, I think it's just a fear of failure. You need to go quickly, despite sometimes failing. And to really, like, nail in this point, let me just make an extra note of what I think this comes down to. You end up losing more time from being scared and stopping to set up than just failing one trick. And what I mean by that is, like, throughout the run, you keep on stopping and you pause, right? You take a second to stop. I know it happens much later in the run on, I think, Smolg. I guess Smolg is a fair one. That's a pretty big death, but still. If you're gonna do it on only one, like Smolg, not all of them. But if if you're constantly scared, you're taking an extra half second a few times a split, that adds up over the course of a run to be 20 seconds kind of thing. And within that time you save by just going quickly and just going straight into it, not being scared to make that mistake, you would save back that time of making a mistake in the first place. So it sounds kind of counterintuitive, but even if you make mistakes, you just need to go quicker. So yeah. Yo, what's up, Serb? Thanks for the raid. Yeah, you got pranked there. So you actually want to put on shield here. So the players you charge, you hyper strike and then charge, and then in the first charge you put on shield. God, I hate you pulling out my freaking... Oh, I did not mean to close that video, but whatever. I don't think I need it again. Let me show you. As things are good. Analyzing Marathon's brand new 26. So land, charge, shield. And then you see, I know that you don't take this tight line, so I'm going to show you again. This tight line is important. You're trying to go close, you go to the right, and then you land. I think you, off memory, yes, you go a bit left. That's a mistake. That's fair enough. That happens. Yeah, so I get the impression as well on your direction changes that you're not confident on your direction changes. And by extension, it seems like you're mostly doing hard rights and hard lefts. It seems like you don't like to do up, right, down, right. Like the diagonals. And remember, a PS2 controller has even more specificity than that. You can be more precise than just up, right, or hard right. You can be, the 60 degree or the 30 degree angle. The controller accepts that. And you need to learn to use them in some of these spots. You don't need to use decoy to switch any of these angles. It should all be Rhino Wrench. And then here, you could have just turned it around rather than doing another charge into a cancel. And then again, you went hard right. That's very much an obvious upright angle there. Like, even your brain improvising should have just said upright, and you went hard right. I don't know if that's your controller or just you, but yeah, you need to learn to use those angles properly. Here, don't just pull it, don't just stop. Actually try, after you cancel to land in the taxi, weapon manage. Pull out your decoys. Your decoy should be your secondary. Pull it out here. It's a nice general philosophy in speedrunning if you want to play to win, not to lose. Yeah, exactly. I mean, generally it comes out being quicker anyway. Practice getting up a ladder here. This one is a spot that I am okay with you missing up a ladder. I still miss up a ladder on this because it's a stupid fucking ladder and I hate it. But yeah. Practice it. It can be consistent, but like you, I am lazy, so I can let that slide. You should learn left side proxy. If you're already doing right side proxy, then learn left side proxy. And to do left side proxy, make sure you start the wall bounce from the left side so that you end up on the left side, because you always end up on the side that you start on. You also lose time with that movement, so yeah, learn left side proxy. And by that, all I mean is, this land there. This is not nearly as tight as you might think. If you're scared of missing this, side flip to the right. If you go to the left, it can be tight, but you can just side flip to the right and then charge to the left and you'll be okay. That'll save you a couple seconds there. Because you have less height with the left side proxy, you won't be able to just charge straight out. But to put it bluntly, now that you're playing at a pretty high level, you shouldn't be doing extended charges just to stop yourself from doing a wrench jump. It's a wrench jump, you don't really miss them. Like, if you do, it's a dumb mistake. It's not really a thing you should account for, though. Like, to me, that route right there is another example of being kind of scared. And you need to move away from that kind of scared play. And you need to just accept that that route has a wrench jump and you need to just do it. Also, I don't think you've learned New Arena yet, off memory. And New Arena, not only is it really quick, but it's freaking free. Yeah, so you haven't learned New Arena. Let me teach you New Arena. It's very easy. So you walk out. The first thing you need to do... They should always spawn in this guy anyway. I'm actually confused there. They didn't spawn in the right pod. What? Wait, let me look at this again. What the hell? Oh, I know why. So what you did, you charge into the center of the arena, and because you took the other pods off your screen, because every pod is active, basically how the arena works, it picks an active pod, and then it tries to pick a pod that's on your screen, except for one situation that oh no, in every situation. So what you need to do, you need to not charge forward here. I know it sounds logical to charge forward, but you do not want to charge. Look at this arena start. I walk forward and I instantly turn my camera over to this one because that's where they'll naturally spawn if this pod's on camera. And then you kill them. Put on shield. And then you delay on killing these guys. You wait until that pod is all the way back and then you kill them. Then you wipe these guys, you turn around and you'll do a blade ball clear. You fire one shot to the left and then one shot out to the right. Like kind of, so this first shot is like between, yeah, so it's between these two pods. And the second shot is kind of up closer to this pod. And then you clear these guys with Lancer. That's another thing. You gotta be aware of your weapon management. Right at the start, I pull out the Lancer. Because you have downtime here pulling out the weapon anyway, you use it to organize your weapons. There, I had downtime, I used it to organize my weapons. So yeah, kill those guys, fire those shots, kill them. Yet again, I'd fire the plasma shot, and then I use it to quick switch. I go plasma, rhino, and then back to plasma. So again, use your downtime effectively. And then, yep, you fire these guys. There'll be one more group after these guys in front of you. And then basically, because there's no more active pods on screen, it'll spawn the guys behind you. So you turn around, those guys will be already coming out. You shoot them, and then you stay looking this way. Shoot them. And then you pull out the rhino by quick switching. Break some of the ammo crates. Very important, because otherwise you're going to have a bad time with ammo. And then quickly pull out decoy. There's a few things to take in there. But generally, yeah, it's pretty straightforward. So, Maktar. Alright. So that's how the new arena works. Me and Mob have done the testing. It works every time, and it's insanely quick. Alright. So I'm not going to watch this whole arena because you should just learn the new arena. There is better movement here. I'm hesitant to say that you need it. Double slap is one of the smaller time saves. So you know what? For now, I'm going to say no. This is one of the few return movements I'm going to let you get away with. It won't be frequent, but I will let you get away with it. Alright, so here... So you charge to the right spot, and then you ruined your setup. So you know how at one point recently on stream, I told you charge back left, and then go from there. So you charge to the right spot here. Yeah, so here's the right spot. But then, rather than just stopping and turning your camera, you took 10,000 steps to the left, which you're already losing like 2 seconds for doing that, and then charge forward. Think about this logically. That's what I'm going to say. One of the ways you can learn your setups is to just stop and think about them. Think about this setup. How is this going to work? The only way this is going to be working is if it randomly shoots you to the side. Your direction is actually going slightly to the right. So, the only thing pushing you left with this setup is the side left part of this rock. So logically, think about it. You need to be further to the right to have your forward momentum going around this. I don't even need... Yep. So you see there? That was never going to work because your direction was going into the mountain. I didn't even need to see it to know. So again, let me show you the setup by looking at ComGold. Alright, so same start as you. I charge back left, same as you. But then I actually took a step to the right, not left. And then I charge along, so it's like a pretty small bit here. But what it does is even though it's a small bit to hit, I can then pull the decoy ammo. I hold like up right into the rock as I proxy here as well. Like as a direction. And that allows me to just side flip. If you don't want to side flip, you can just double jump around. But it's about the direction of your charge before you start the charge. So yeah, just think about it logically. This angle... Stop and think about it. This is never going to work, is it? So just think about that before you do it. Otherwise, fine. I should make a guide on instant electrolyzer. It's a thing worth learning, but it's tiny. I would like to analyze race, but honestly, I don't feel like I'm good enough at race. And it's not your biggest time save right now, so I'm going to skip it. What I'll say about race is watch some of the top races. Watch my race, watch Mobius's 2:12.3, watch Scotto's 2:12.4. You know, watch some top races. And you'll take stuff away from it. And yeah. But yeah, I'm not going to watch this all. Sorry, my internet's kind of struggling, so this is taking a little longer than it should. Man, I've been analyzing for freaking 40 minutes. And we're not even up to Feldson. Yeah, so that return movement was fine. I'm not going to critique any of that. You have the right idea, it just kind of went wrong. Second try nuke storage is pretty pog. Good composure. Alright, fucking load. So you already know my criticism here because I yell at you every time. Just Hyper Strike to the side. I'm going to show you this again. So yeah, look at this. I tap right. I literally just tap right. Off memory, I use D-pad as well. And then I just charge out. I Hyper Strike, turn my angle slightly out to the left, charge and go. This angle, your mistake is usually that when you go for this, you try and throw the decoy too soon. Look at where I'm jumping from. If I frame advance. Look, yeah, I've actually slightly left the ground as I start the side flip, as far as I can tell. The side flip starts like here. I've left the ground. Whereas when I've seen you go for it, I noticed that you're trying to do it before you know, like not close to the ledge. So that's what you'll learn. You should learn this. At your level, this strat is pretty much inexcusable. You're losing 5 seconds plus. And then staying in first person for this jump around here just removes your mobility. You're making it much harder on yourself. I get that you want to have the backup for if you know, miss the proxy, but frankly, you shouldn't miss the proxy. If you know what you're doing, the proxy's pretty straightforward. So you notice how you were charging... when you tried this, even though you're in first person, the philosophy still applies. You see how you're charging dead flat with it? You shouldn't be dead straight. Notice how I'm charging. My angle is slightly into it. Even if you don't do the double jump around like I do, that's fine. As long as you can take the big proxy up and let yourself drop down, and that's still acceptable. But yeah, doing it slightly in will reduce your height a bit, and that's what you want. Overcorrected the angle there, that's fine. Death Abuse, coolest strat in the game, by the way. Coolest strat in the game. The no-tag route is just so cool. With the Death Abuse, just a small comment. Aim more left. You should have aimed more down left here. Again, I think it's one of the things where you're using hard angles. You're going hard left here. You should be a little down left so that you can get the lower part of this. And not just because you're going over the lower part, but also because it puts you closer to the fish. And if you do it right, you'll drop down quicker, which is what you want as well. It's one of those examples of the decoy, the gloves, like the decoy and bomb, pulling you down quicker than just falling. So yeah, you can slightly optimize that death. The side flip to skip that double jump is kind of scary, so I'm not going to require you to do that. But what I do want you to try and do, learn this setup. If you're going to do this jump setup-less already, then you should learn to do it properly, is my opinion. Because you're already not setting up that angle. So what you want to do, throw the decoy, tap your camera left here, so you look a little more in after you throw it, and then hold strafe, walk in, and then charge out. Basically, you're aiming for like this bit over here a bit more. So yeah, you see my clip angle is super far left, which means as I go through, you can see Ratchet's feet for a split second there. Look at how far left I am here to get a side flip. And then charge straight out of it. Yeah. Whereas you're losing 2 seconds, 3 seconds maybe. That's a hard one, but yeah. It's one of those things where I think you should really just start learning the optimized routes. I mean, your sum of bests are 24, 35 with some slower routes. Like a bunch of slower strats, which is honestly incredibly impressive that you've managed to pull it off. So, grats on that. But what you should start doing is really implementing a lot of these faster routes. Now, what I've noticed with some of your Siberius routes, you don't always do Siberius the same. Siberius movement, especially because the terrain doesn't load, it's really important to be comfortable with it, and you should be doing it the exact same every time. So if I just pull up mine again, this is a terrible example. This is the quad charge example. I want the non-quad charge example. Man, this is an old gold. So yeah, again, the same theory. Quite far left. I'm literally here for this one. That's probably further left than you need to go. And then notice how I always do the same charge, side flip, hyper strike. You're blind, yes, but the timing is all the same. You can get a feel for this timing. Then I go into these charges. I know it's exactly 3 charges. Then let go, hyper strike, side flip, charge. 2 charges just before the end of the second. It's a side flip. 2 charges again. Let it run out. Hyper strike with a delay. 2 charges. Hyper strike up. So yeah. I could recite that pretty much blind. How many charges, the timings, all of that. Whereas I get an impression from watching this that you don't have it ironed down to a T like that. Because it's a planet where the terrain doesn't load, it's extra important that you just have it confident. So you need to turn this route. This is one of those spots where I think you're thinking of it as, okay, do the clip. Okay, get the jump up. Okay, charge along, get to the tree, and then do a skip. Like, in your head, the skips for you are the jump, and then the clip, and then the jump up, and then the jump to the end. That's the 4 things I think you're thinking about, when you need to think of it as one big route instead of that. You know, it should be one trick, not several, with a checklist. That's what I'm really trying to hammer in. Otherwise, good job. I personally think you should learn to use decoy for this jump. Up at the end here. Using wrench here is just making your timing harder. So yeah, you could have delayed the first decoy a bit more and then learned to use a decoy. The reason you want to learn to use decoy there, you'll be a bit closer, but also because I'm sure by now you have a decent feel for where this little thing is. And using the wrench, you can't change your timing. It's nearly impossible to fix your your spacing if you charge from the wrong spot using a wrench swing as your setup here. But if you use decoy, you can go, oh, I'm a bit further forward than usual. I'll cancel a bit sooner. And you can actually fix that. Or if you need to do a double jump to fix it or something, then you can, you know, like, so you should try to adjust to that. There's no reason to stop here. Hyper strike and mash R1 straight into a charge. There's no reason to stop and fix your angle. That cutscene is the most, you know, generous cutscene in the world. Alright. I already know I'm going to be mad about this. I'm actually, yeah. I've stopped taking notes on planets because I assume you just watched the video. Learn to use Rhino here. That's all I can really say about it. I know for a fact from watching you use decoy in a lot of these spots. I don't know why you charge straight away there. This is one of those situations where... Why would you spam charge to go forward here? That makes no sense. Turn the camera and charge straight this way. Doing that bad angle means you have to fix it and then stop and then do the exact same camera setup and walking that you would have to do anyway. So you might as well do it at the start and not lose time going forward. Because you're going to have to do it anyway. You should have Rhino out here to do the wrench swing. Because there's no reason to side flip there. You're literally putting yourself further forward for no reason. Even if you don't do side flip. Alright? Even if you don't do the side flip up. So yeah. Gain control. Look left. Charge. Even if you don't do the side flip here, you can get that falling neutral wrench SI. You know that angle. Even if you just did your standard hard right thing, that would still get you much closer than side flipping got you. Look at where you landed, whereas the wrench swing gets you here. This is not even a side flip. So you'd save a second from just that. Again, decoy here makes no sense, and decoy here makes extra no sense. This is making it way harder on yourself. Alright? Even if you don't want to do this mega flip, which is understandable, do the double jump. You can just do falling neutral double jump over here. For that proxy setup, do whatever you want to do. This is really about feeling comfortable. You see the decoy there? The decoy literally screwed you over there. This is what I mean. Please, for the love of God, stop using decoy here, Marathon. I swear to God. Yeah, again, you love your hard right, hard left angles. This was hard left when it should be up left. Use wrench to break glass to get wrench to break glass. Or whatever that is. And please, again, stop using wrench here. I'm noticing a trend, actually, throughout a lot of these planets. You seem to really dislike the decoy. I don't know if you're just not used to using it. Because well, which makes sense because you've avoided using it. At some point, you need to stop avoiding it. Because you're losing time in a lot of places and making things harder for yourself because you're using the decoys in the wrong spots and then not using it where you should. So what I would advise, I would go through and look at world record, or even look at all the com golds if you want to do yourself a bigger favor, because that's better to look at. They're optimized more. You can get more out of them. Look at them and look at the routes and really try to learn those routes. Oh, that's the wrong clip. Because here, doing that setup with wrench, I've seen you fall into it, and you kind of screw yourself over. Because I noticed that you force yourself to land in a bad spot. Like, you walk over and you set up so precisely, and you force yourself to do a directional changing. You're making this way harder on yourself than it needs to be. This charge is fine, though. I told you about the not charging as you land thing, so just keep that in mind. Alright. Your movement before is fine. Just copy what you did before on the normal Barlow. What's up, Bob? How are you? That's fine. Alright, I'm already mad. Weapon manage. This is another one of those downtime spots where you should be weapon managing. At this spot, correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, no, even for you, you're Tabora. Decoy is your secondary. So as soon as you hit the teleporter, on the exterior, you put on shield. You use the quick select in the teleporter to put on shield. And then here you double tap triangle to pull out decoy. And then as you fall here, you pull out the turret. And then that gives you 3 perfectly good charges on the way up here to fix your angle. So again, like here, this is one of those spots. I think you... Yeah, so what you do, right, you land here, you pull out the turret, so you've just removed the decoy from your secondary slot, which already loses time, because, you know, you're doing it at a time where you need it. Like, right now, you're pulling out weapons on a need basis, rather than a actually route basis. Like, if you want to think about it, like the way I told you about the checkbox, even though I'm trying to get you to stop thinking about it as a checklist of strats, basically, before the checklist of this clip, you're getting to the checkpoint, and then you're going, okay, now pull out the weapon I need. What it should actually be is thinking ahead and knowing, okay, I need this weapon for you know, in 5 seconds. I'll pull it out now because I got downtime, rather than losing a second fiddling here to pull it out. And then it's even worse because because you've overwritten decoy, you can't quick switch back. You lose another second having to stop to pull it out here. So yeah. Also, I would learn a different strat here. This is slow. Whatever of the strats you want to do here. There's a version where you... There's this version where you Hyper Strike. There's also the version where you go a bit further to the left. You go out like this way, and then you side flip Hyper Strike or whatever. They're a lot faster. Learn them. So yeah, learn something to that effect, because you're losing again a lot of time here. You're losing like 5 seconds. Again, there, you then had to fix your weapons again, right? When your weapons would have been fine, right? You in the Hyper Strike towards here, you could have just pulled out. You could have quick switch, and your weapons would be fine. So yeah, really focus on the thing I was talking about with weapon management. It seems to be very important for you. You're losing a lot of time throughout the run to it. I'm not watching this. Oh, frick, why is it not selected? Oh my god. Yeah, it's fine. Bomb Glove. Look, theoretically, using Bomb Glove is good, but be careful with it, because there are certain situations where it can frick you over. I personally have decided that it's not worth using. I just optimize my route. Really, in my opinion, if you're going to use Bomb Glove, use it as a last resort when you run out of ammo, not as your primary route. Because else it has a few weird differences that are a little hard to account for. That's my personal opinion. That's fine. I've noticed you die here a few times. Usually when you die here, you're side flipping way too early. That's another one of those spots where you side flip super late. Let me demonstrate the timing. Look, this is a bit like the no-tack side flip. I'm literally starting the side flip off the platform. So yeah, you really need to optimize your spacing there. Here, proxy into double jump. It's a lot quicker. And then here you don't want to pull back that far, as I'm sure you realized. Yep, because you have to save it. Your angle here is up. This is a very... I'm fucking surprised this worked. But yeah, you want to go up like here, and then you go up along this way diagonally and go up. There is the wrench swing. If you don't want to do it, don't. It's up to you. Do what you feel most comfortable with. You don't have to learn that proxy, but it is worth a shot. Yeah, I would say some of these strats, like some of these more optimized strats, experiment with them and see which ones you like, which ones you don't. Some of them, you know, a lot of them are just preference. You might find this strat easy. You might not. But if you're not going to do the proxy, fix your setup here. Because I notice you kind of charge and then decoy to stop yourself here. And then you take like 10 steps over to here. When you should actually charge, decoy to the side. To skip all of that walking. So think about that kind of thing as well. Yeah, like there, you didn't even go to the side. Folgen knew what was up. Yeah, it's fine. I don't actually know if you know double side flip. If you don't know double side flip, probably worth learning. It's a 3-second time save, and if you can hit it, it's time save, and if you miss it, guess what? You lose 0 time. Over just doing exactly what you're doing here. So it's worth trying to learn double side flip. Shield, no. If you're doing this route, the shield should go on during the charge. You see, this is another one of those weapon management things and not using your downtime things. You stop here to put on shield when you actually could have kept going in a rhythm and charged out. When what you could have done, you could have charged out and then in this charge put on shield. So yeah. Alright, Breeze. No worries, man. I know some people enjoy watching analysis even though it's, you know, not for them. It is quite interesting to hear the intricacies. But thanks for hanging out. See you later. So yeah, just put the shield on during the charge to, you know, save the time. Here, I think you got Chinese shielded. Yep. Unfortunate, but good recovery. Your Clank section is losing about 4 seconds. Honestly, I'm not going to critique that yet. I'm going to say, keep it in mind, your Clank section has room to improve. Like 4 seconds of room to improve. Don't even... Or actually, I am going to say, worth learning Clank Proxy. If you can even get Clank Proxy to like a 1/4 consistency, right? Not even that, right? You can just throw it into runs sometimes. I'm not saying you should go for it every run, but like if you have a run that's like plus 20 or something, right? It's one of those strats that even though it's YOLO and you shouldn't do it every run until the top level, it's worth learning. It's worth just knowing. So yeah, I would learn Clank Proxy just as a worth knowing kind of thing. If you that dead and you want to play Reactor, dude, that's so rough. What do you mean it's dead? Like the Ethernet port just doesn't work? That's rough. Port doesn't work, dude. That's actually rough. Alright. I've heard you talk a few times about not understanding this wall climb. And you know what? That's fair enough. Let me do my best to explain it. The wall is broken up into a few points. Let me pull up some paint. The wall... Allow me to visualize this. The wall is like this. Actually, it's more like... It's more like that. So you've kind of got... That's also terrible. Alright, it's... flat... Where's my line tool? Give me a line tool. Oh my god. So you got flat. And then you got slight. And then you've got bigger diagonal up. Off the top of my head, that's like the exact line, right? So what you want to do. Red is going to represent the angle at which you should be pulling your analog stick. You land when you get Ratchet, when you like actually gain control, you land roughly here. This is roughly where you land. And your analog stick should have a up. It's back right. So it's like, okay, let me think about this a different way. You want to think about where you need to go. If you're not pulling back on the analog stick, then essentially you're just pushing up into the slope. And then the slope pushes you back, which is very slow. It works, but it's very slow. What you need to be doing is during this section, you actually pull the analog stick back. So you're pulling Ratchet this way, and then the wrench climb does its job and pulls you up. As you get to here, same thing. The slope will push you up if you just go straight up into it, but it's a lot quicker if you actually go out to the side. So what that'll do, if you're pulling back on the analog and to the right so that you actually go to the right, because you need to obviously get to your destination, then it will pull you out quicker until you get to this flat bit where you obviously just go to the right. So you go in, you know, that way kind of thing. Oh, yo. So that's my crappy little explanation. Now, to further exemplify this, let me pull up the Ratchet section, ComGold. Oh, actually, I shouldn't use this one because this is one I would actually say don't look at ComGold because the ComGold uses double charge, and the double charge line is different because you land at a different spot. So, here I'm pulling back and I'm pulling basically diagonally back right. And then you see the slant changes to a different slant. And then here, this is the other thing. You get caught below this orange thing. Along here, you're just going hard right. You're going as far to the right as you can, and you're looking to the right. So that when you go this way, there's some little breakables that break from your wrench rather than breaking your climb. And it also means as you try to climb here, you go onto this sooner, and the pixels, these like animation, can notify you of where you are. Yo, Gretz Amaral, that's actually nuts, bro. Congratulations. I'll need to watch that later. That's actually nuts. Bro, how have I still not followed you, by the way? Or have I? I honestly... I swear, bro. I swear I followed you and it just stopped following you for some reason. Dude, that's actually nuts, though. Congratulations. That's insane. So here... Yeah, so again, pulling back and, right over here. And then once you reach this flat bit, that's when you start going to the right. That's when you no longer pull back and you're just doing wall climb. Then as you you'll notice the wall is in segments. So you get onto this extended part. This bit pushes out of the wall a bit. And then it has a dip. So it dips in and goes to this next bit. It goes back to a lower level. Here, turn your camera to the side and get as close to this wall as you feel comfortable doing, so that you see where this is, so you can drop down. I was too high there. My line was actually not perfect. I should have been further right. But yeah, that's how you want to do it. And then, yeah. So I hope that kind of makes sense on how that wall climb works. It's a bit confusing. Don't setup list that camera angle. I mean, that charge. You're never going to hit that setup list. So, because, your angle's different every time based on your camera angle and ratchet position going into cutscene. So don't even bother trying to setup list that. Hit L1, use your camera, and then charge over the button and cancel out. Gone. Yeah, so you fired the missile accidentally at the start, rather than nuke. I mean, other than the mistakes at the start, it's an okay Gorn. I think you've got time. It's kind of like your Clank section and your Barlow race. There are things to improve, but it's not the thing I would focus on just yet. I feel like you should learn the proxy side flip here. It's a lot quicker. And yeah, I mean, that's all there really is to it. It's a lot quicker and it's not that hard. You've got Stupid Wrench. I don't know if you know how to fix Stupid Wrench, because Stupid Wrench does lose a lot of time. So basically, to fix Stupid Wrench, what you want to do is, so you basically stop spamming square, and then let yourself fall for a split second, and then start spamming square again. Basically, it lets the double jump animation finish itself and fixes Stupid Wrench. Nice clip. That's whack. I was gonna say learn the setup list charge there, but I'll let it slide. Snivelac's one of those planets you gotta just do what you gotta do, I think. 137 for gold is fine. What did you get here? Yeah, it's fine. I'm not gonna razz you for that. It's a hard planet. What I am gonna razz you for is this that I know is coming up right now. I know you commented on this. So you're aware of it. But yeah, it needs to be said. This is one of those spots you need to be less scared. I know that it's hard. You're on Smolg in no IMG. You're 23 minutes into the run right now. 24. Look, you're losing 2 seconds here. Like, look at this. 3 seconds, actually. You lose about 3 seconds because you're scared to hit R1 twice when your angle was fine to begin with. What you need to learn is to learn to improvise and fix your angles as you go, rather than spend 10 years fixing it. Because you're losing, throughout the course of the run, surplus amounts of time to just being too scared to do it, essentially. Basically, by being scared to do that jump, by stopping and being scared to do that jump, you lost half of the time you would have lost for just failing it anyway. So you should just go for it and maybe fail, you know? That's a double side flip to get up normally. That's fine. Learn the second side flip. Double side flips really aren't difficult. You literally just hold R1, mash X, and time the sideways input. Or you can just time every input if you really want to. That works fine here. Yeah, missing this angle, a bit inexcusable, but I get the pressure. But that's one of the reasons you want to learn double side flip. This hyper strike shouldn't even be a consideration that you have to think about, you know?
Oh no, dude.
Oh no, dude, I agree. I agree, dude, yikes. For Rail, I'm curious to see. Safe entry. You know what, for now, I'll let you get away with that for just a little longer. If this was an NG Plus run, though, I wouldn't be happy with it. I'd razz you. I'd give you the big razzle dazzle. Honestly, you could probably learn the backtrack. The backtrack is not that hard to learn. I mean, if you have too much difficulty with it, then don't. But yeah. Yeah. If you're gonna reload, that's a way to do it. You'll notice I'm being a lot less critical on this late game. One, because I think there's less to say, frankly. I think your late game is better than your early game, which makes sense. Obviously, you know, just don't miss that side flip. Easier said than done. I mean, you've done NG+, so it makes sense that your late game is better than your early game and mid game. So I have less to say about the late game. This confuses me a bit. I feel like you could learn to do the proper full setup here, but for Yeatle, you know what? Oh god. Oh, I take it back. Learn something faster here. For reference, using my timing method, granted, I'm looking at the timer as I insta-clip and I'm looking for a 25. Using your timing method, that means I'm looking for like a 27, maybe 28 or 29, but still, assuming the worst, 28, right? You've lost 11 seconds to me just getting to the factory door. And looking at your gold, a 111 Yeatle doesn't really cut it in 2021. So yeah, learn. I don't really care which of the like 5 versions of Yeatle exterior you learn. There's like 5 significantly quicker versions of Yeatle exterior. Learn one of them. Because you're losing, you know, 11 seconds getting to this door. It seems like another thing you're scared of doing is charging and then exiting first person while midair. Because here, right? This setup was a tap left. You pull the camera left for a little bit and then charge out and do your, wrench jump, and it's that easy. But basically, exiting first person means your camera gets screwed, so it's further to the right, which means you have to enter L1 and pull further left, and then exit the L1 to be able to do the charge. So you're just, piling time loss. You should just set up the charge in first person, charge, exit first person midair, and then do the wrench jump. It's not too hard. You turned that hyperstrike anyway. I seeing as you turned to the right, I'm going to assume you turned that hyperstrike as like an effort to make sure you land. But that hyperstrike aiming right doesn't give you any better chance of landing there. So you should actually turn it to the left, like up left, and aim towards the cutscene and just charge straight away to save an extra second. Because again, stopping to menu here, you could have just menued on the hover bomb as you go towards in the charge towards the boss. Stopping for a second, again, slow. So again, another one of those spots you want to learn your weapon management. But the poking, as I say in chat, is perfect. Alright, that was incredibly in-depth. Yeah, I really hope you got some stuff out of this. I think there's a lot of stuff in the early game and mid-game that you need to clean up and adjust and change. But the fundamentals are there. The fundamentals really are there. I think if you took to heart what I've said today, you could very easily boost your consistency and boost your speed. For example, learning to manage your weapons boosts your consistency because it turns it more into a route. Doing the Maktar arena is way faster and way quicker. Learning some of these strats is just going to be better for you in every way. So I really do think you should learn some of that stuff. And yeah, I want to set you a little goal. So the whole thing that I'm talking about with learning the routes, learning to treat the planets as one big segment rather than a kind of cut up sequential series of tricks. It's not like that at all. It's one steady route from start to finish, and you need to try and closely match the movement every time as close as possible. And beyond that, you don't want to just be matching your own movement every time. You want to be matching what is optimal, because there is a quickest way to move through every planet. So what I want to challenge you to do is I want you to pick a split. I don't really care which. Pick a split. I keep track of the double charge golds here for this exact purpose, except for Oozla, because that was ages ago. Pick a gold. Maybe you start with Maktar. That'd be a great one to start with. Yo, what's up, Marathon? So yeah, pick a gold. Even if it's just like pre-arena and the arena, and look at the gold, right? Pull it up and learn it. Don't just know the tricks. Don't just take the advice I've said. Like the advice I've said about weapon management, for example. If you looked at the com gold and just went, alright, for the most part, unless a strat is obviously rough, you don't have to do Maktar double side flip. But even with Maktar double side flip, the weapon route doesn't change. So pick a split and go, I'm going to try and imitate that as closely as possible. I'm going to try and copy the line. I'm going to try and copy the weapon management exactly when he does it. I'm going to try and copy, the angles. I'm going to try and copy the quick switching, everything. Pick a gold and imitate it. And I promise you, if you pick a com gold per week, you will excel so quickly, or even more than that. If you do a com gold every 3 days, right? And in your practice session, at the start of your practice session, You just sit down and you go, all right, which gold today? Let's have a look. Oozla, for example. And you watch it through. And then you take notes. Or if you don't physically take notes. If you're not watching it just for the sake of watching it, and you're watching it for the sake of understanding what's happening and trying to imitate it. So, for example, with regards to, I analyzed your Oozla. I made some notes on your Oozla. So if you're looking at this Oozla, you'd watch it, you'd go, okay, he turned the camera less than I do. And he proxied from much further right, which gave him a much better hyperstrike angle up here, which saved him time. And then he specifically is a little further to the left, which gives me a hyperstrike to the left here, which means that if I was to do the side flip to the left, I would be up here, which would position me perfectly over there. So that's the kind of stuff that you're analyzing. You want to look at it and you want to learn the route. You want to learn the timing. You want to learn it, entirely. For you, for example, it could be learning the thing I was talking about. For Oozla, for example, it could be learning what I was talking about with Torpedo's run. So try to go away from doing, your kind of I don't even know what to describe the Oozla route as, and try to turn it into more like this, what Torp's doing. So he went to the right. It all starts from back here. If you're wondering where this line starts from, this line all starts from here. So you go from here to the right, a little bit further to the right, which allows you to go side flip left, which sets you up to perfectly position to jump in line here, which is like in line with the left door, which means that as you go over, you hyperstrike, you land like dead center, which means you can pretty much just charge straight away, and then you do side flip, single jump charge, side flip right, hug the wall. So yeah, TLDR, pick a gold every few days, look at the com gold, and try to learn the route closer to that. If you find that something is just too difficult, then don't. Alright, find your own way to do it. But still, you need to learn the entire route as one big route rather than a bunch of tricks. That's really what I'm trying to hammer in. That includes weapon management. Weapon management is a part of the route. It's not just a thing you do on a per need basis. If you're only doing the weapon management as you need the weapon, then you're losing time inherently. So yeah. That is the entire run. Very in-depth. An hour and 20 minutes of just, hey, do this. But yeah, I really do think that if you take this stuff to heart and you relearn some planets, you really try and analyze the com golds, you sort out your weapon management, you adjust your mindset slightly, I really think you're going to excel. I think you've got the fundamentals down pat for this game. But yeah, I will send you through this list. It's not really... I stopped taking notes because I basically say everything I write anyway. But yeah, I hope this was helpful. Yeah, I said a lot of stuff, Marathon. For example, I spent 10 minutes on Aranos 1 because I covered like 3 of these general things. And I also talked about Aranos itself. So yeah. Let me just summarize it for you one more time, what I really want you to focus on. Stop thinking of it as a checklist. It's one big route. When I am playing through, for example, when I'm playing through Aranos 1, I'm not thinking of this as, I guess the first thing you'd think of is jumping up to this. My first thought is not, okay, it's time to do this trick. Because if I was thinking about the trap that it sets you into, thinking about the run as a trick-by-trick basis, is what do you consider the first trick on a planet like Aranos, right? The first trick is really the insta-clip. So if you let yourself get into the trap of thinking about the run as just a checklist of tricks, then you're missing the whole point, which is everything between all of the checklist points. So if your first thought is just, first checklist item, which is do the insta-clip, then there's 24 seconds optimally before that you're probably not doing optimally. which, as I discussed in the analysis, you weren't. So really, really try and break free from this, trick by trick thought, and start looking at the comm golds and start thinking about the entire route and try to just mimic the video and do it every time. For example, the one I was talking about on Aranos as a recollection was you should be aiming to get this upper ladder. Aim for the upper ladder like that. And then you decoy to the left. And then it's exactly 2 charges, hard stick to the right, charge straight away, cancel. That is the optimal way to do that. And there's just no arguing about that's the optimal way. And that specifically is a great example of that's the optimal way to do that movement, and it's not hard either. That's just a couple of angles that you can learn to do in 10 minutes kind of thing. So yeah, the second major thing, weapon management. Gotta get your weapon management right. Sometimes you're going into quick select when you're picking the weapon that you already have as your secondary, so you're losing half a second. You're not using your downtime. For example, during charges is a perfect time to pull out weapons. Whereas what you're doing a lot is you'll finish the charge and then stop. And then when you're stopped, you'll do your weapons. And then you'll keep going. When you should just do it in the charge because, it's a second of nothing. Or on an elevator, for example. And then the third major thing that I was talking about was just being less scared. Playing quicker, doing your setups a bit quicker. Not being afraid of mistakes, stuff like that. Generic stuff. So, yeah. I don't really think I have much else to say. I covered a lot of stuff. There are a few more things I could nitpick, or a lot more things I could nitpick. Not to say it's a bad run. This is a brilliant run. At Marathon, you are an extremely talented runner. It's just to say that I think if you can start focusing on those big things that I talked about, and I tried to give you specific examples of that as I analyzed this run. A lot of it was just me pointing out the specific examples of those things. If you focus on those things, then a lot of the things I would tell you would fix themselves anyway. Like, I wouldn't have to tell you to, do a better line on Maktar, for example, because you'd be watching the comm golds, you'd know, oh yeah, of course, a better line there, because you'd learn the route rather than learning a bunch of tricks. So yeah. I don't really think that's anything else. I think that's pretty conclusive. No worries, man. I have fun doing this. I killed my throat. I'm not used to talking like this for extended periods of time, streaming anymore. So my throat is like, please stop. But yeah. I really do think that was a really solid run. And I also think you have a lot of potential. If you want to push further, I really think you could. Let's have a look at the boards. I'm curious about how much time you have to save. Frankly, I think 25 for you is extremely doable. I definitely think you could, get into the mid 25s pretty easily, which is like top 6. And if you start really embracing some of the stuff I've said, I think you could start pushing for 24. I really honestly do. I don't know if you want to, and if you want to or not, that's your own decision. Obviously, I'd love you to, but yeah, that's your own thing to decide. I'm just saying that the potential is there. Alright, let's find someone to host. I don't think my throat can handle another second. Any speedruns? Well, damn. In that case, I'm just gonna let the host fizzle. I hope you find this useful, and generically helpful. I will send you through this list in a second, and I will highlight the video. But yeah. See you guys later.